Black Panther Wakanda Forever is definitely an emotional trailer. It's well shot and it has some really beautiful aspects. But one question really on my mind is what's the cost of all this? Hey, what's up, Nerd fam? This is your boy Gershon. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Today we're talking about the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer, which came out this weekend during San Diego Comic Con. So, this trailer, I just want to say off the bat, clearly was a very well shot. It was a very good looking trailer and extremely emotional due to obviously the backdrop of Chadwick Boseman passing. And obviously, they're using that feeling. And you can tell that a lot of these scenes are extremely heavy because they're dealing with the real life loss. And I think if we look at this trailer, they're definitely going with the death of T'Challa. I can't say that for 100%. None of us can because we haven't seen the movie, but it looks like that's where they're going towards. Right? Okay. So moving past those things, because those things are true, what is the cost of this? Here's what I mean. When it comes to T'Challa, obviously there's this whole recast T'Challa movement, and people have a lot of different reasons for it. For me, personally, T'Challa is very important when it comes to the Marvel Universe, whether it's in the comics or in the MCU. And obviously the MCU is supposed to be looking at the comics for inspiration, albeit loosely nowadays. But T'Challa has been important to every major event for Marvel. Not just the Black Panther mantle, but T'Challa, right? And I've noticed a lot of things online where people are talking about it, whether it's for recasting T'Challa or against recasting T'Challa, that are a bit inaccurate. So I've seen things where people go, okay, well, anyone in Wakanda could be Black Panther. That's not true, especially if you know the story about it, especially if you know that it's really the real family that could be it. And it is supposed to be a title pass from father to son. That is something that happens. It's what's been happening forever. Now, sure, he does get the mantle, obviously, but when she gets the mantle, it is temporary, and T'Challa is still alive. It looks like he's not going to be alive in this. Now, a lot of people are coming up with theories that maybe they could bring him back in another multiverse, another variant. I don't even understand why even do something that convoluted when you can just keep him alive. And a lot of people are going, damn, is that disrespectful? It isn't. Chadwick Boseman played the role, albeit I believe it was better written in the Civil War movie than it was in the Black Panther movie because he acted more like the comic book counterpart in Civil War than he did in the Black Panther movie. That is just my opinion based off of what I've read about Black Panther. And a lot of people that are commenting on this have never actually read a Black Panther comic. This is just something symbolic for them. Now, for me, it isn't really symbolic for me. It is very straightforward. The character is way too important, has so many implications on the Marvel Universe. For me, this is not about some grand representation of Black people, because I've been reading comics my entire life, and I know there's tons of Black characters. So I know he's not the only one. He's very, very important, which is why he needs to be in the MCU if we're going to be doing this based on a universe of Marvel comics. However, him not being there had nothing to do about how I see myself or how my son needs to see himself. It doesn't have anything to do with that. That's not it, because there are tons of Black characters, and I think that people who are saying that need to read more comics. Hell, even do a Google search or whatever it is that you do, and you'll see there are tons, and you should be rooting for them to come on screen, because obviously they don't all get the same shine, and even some of the original ones that we get their huge legacy transposed under another character's legacy, usually a white character, and then you don't know about it. Falcon, Captain America, looking at that's a whole other video though. But as far as what's happening in this universe, this seems like a bit of a travesty because, once again, T'Challa it's just very straightforward. He's too important. Are you going to put his personality traits on Shuri? Is that what's about to happen? That wouldn't be accurate, especially because we know how she was in the first movie. So all of a sudden she just becomes him. She starts to do everything that he was doing. That doesn't make sense. But it looks like it's where they're going. And Namor, they've done some changes to Namor, which are definitely not accurate. There are some things he's recognizable, but not accurate. I'm going to make a short video about that after this because, once again, there are a lot of inaccuracies. And I just kind of want to stay to the facts here. T'Challa needs to be in the MCU because there's too much story left on the table with him. What this is going to be, and a lot of people, like I said, it looks great. The cinematography looks great. The costume design looks great. It's emotional. But to be honest, I do not necessarily trust Ryan Coogler with handling of these characters, because even in the first Black Panther, they kind of took Black Panther's traits and just like spread them around rather than having him be his true powerful self, which he was in the Civil War movie. I do think it's very interesting sometimes that the people who have the most to say about, recasting the character or not, usually it's the one that say not recasting it, are the ones who actually know the least about the character, the ones who have the least investment, the ones who didn't really even know the character existed until they saw the movie. And don't get me wrong, the one thing that I always looked forward to when it came to superhero movies was it becoming a little bit more mainstream so other people could get into it, and maybe they can get into the comics, but that's really not how it works. What seems to happen is they watch this stuff and then they believe that since they're an expert on the movie, then maybe they, Wikipedia a quick article, and then they yell at the people who perhaps have read the books and understand that you don't know what you're talking about. This is happening, Shuri took the mantle, so you don't have anything to talk about. And it's like, yeah, but what was the context of that? He was still alive, and it was all temporary. Hell, like Nakia becomes a villain, right? In the comic, we're probably not gonna get that. Killmonger, why is he dead? Hell, why was he the way he was in the first movie? There's just so many things that Ryan Coogler kind of did. And I know a lot of people just love the Black Panther movie, but I had a lot of things. And this trailer, once again, while looking very good, while evoking emotion, while this being possibly a send-off for Chadwick Boseman, also seems to be a send-off for T'Challa the character. And that seems to be quite an injustice to a universe that needs a T'Challa. Now, Shuri can still be there. She is important to him too. There's so much left on the table, as I said before. But for some reason, people think that this is disrespectful. Honestly, there's multiple things that we said that he doesn't want it to just go with him. And then even his brother said something like that. He would want it to be recast because the character, has gotta live. It's because the character is still alive, even in the comics. So why are... I see the emotional response, but it's just... I see the attachment, but it's like... They're like, the king is dead. I'm like, Chadwick Boseman passed away. Not the character. We should be able to separate these things, but it feels like there's a bit of a cognitive dissonance when it comes to this type of stuff, especially for the people who are not really invested in the character and more invested in the actor versus the people who maybe have always read the books or maybe decided to pick up the books after the movies and have gotten very, very interested in it. And obviously this is why I'm very, I've already kind of, rolled my eyes at the direction of the MCU because I don't really know where they're going when it comes to this. And they have pretty much expressed they're not gonna bring him back. They pretty much said that, and it's because they feel like it's gonna be too touchy. And that's just to the people who are really least invested in the actual character, and that sucks. That sucks. Now you are inclined to agree with me, to disagree with me, and that's fine. Hopefully we can do that respectfully because I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying that maybe if you read a little bit more about the universe and understand why it makes more sense for him to be on there and not just transpose maybe his character traits onto other people, and why there is so much behind him, the character, that we're just not getting. Let me know what you think. Let's talk in the comments and enter the nerd.